Oh, Suzanne, if anyone is out there that can hear this, that has you, please, we'll do whatever it takes to bring you back. We love you. We miss you. Your girls need you.
Now for what's trending in true crime, autopsy results have determined a Colorado mom was killed and drugged after her Mother's Day disappearance. Monday, the Colorado Bureau of Investigation released this statement on their results that the autopsy report of Suzanne Morphew is now complete and determined her death to be homicide by undetermined means. We understand that it was done using tranquilizer drugs. The 49-year-old vanished after a bike ride back in May of 2020. Her remains found nearly 3 years later. Her husband, Barry, initially charged. Charges were dropped in 2022 when investigators were getting closer to finding Suzanne's remains. And so our question this morning, is Barry Morphew going to be charged again? We got a great power panel standing by. We've got the state attorney in Palm Beach County, Florida, and he's hosting a brand new show. It is the True Crime MTN podcast, Dave Ehrenberg. We've also got with us forensic death investigator, professor at Jacksonville State University, and the host of the Body Bags podcast, Joseph Scott Morgan, and criminal defense attorney and the host of the Defense Diaries podcast, Bob Mata. Great to see you all this morning. Oh boy, you know, I keep thinking back, I know you all are, to that cap from a tranquilizer dart found in the bed sheets, in the dryer at Barry Morphew's home. And he said, oh, I had just shot an animal, disposed of the solution, blah, blah, blah. Is this key for prosecutors now knowing that tranquilizer solution, what was found in Suzanne Morphew's bones? Dave Ehrenberg, would you start us off, please?
Yes, so much for the lawsuit that he filed against prosecutors, right, for wrongful prosecution. And now you have some real evidence. This is why the prosecutors wanted to drop the charge at the time, because once you charge, you know, you got the speedy trial clock running, and now the wait is over. They've got the body, and they have evidence that there was tranquilizer in there. And who uses tranquilizers? Well, the husband has admitted that that's what he does to hunt, even though wildlife officials say, you know, you don't really use tranquilizers to hunt because the animal will come back and eat you. It's usually used by wildlife officials only. So you have a guy who said he uses tranquilizer darts when hunting, and that's the evidence now that we have found that was related to the death of his wife. That's a good piece of evidence for prosecutors.
Yes, Dave, thank you for that. And speaking of, you know, animals eating people, I think we all remember that mountain lion comment that Barry Morphew made. Let's take a look back at that.
And just a confirmation, you left this morning at 5. Okay. And she told you she was going to go bike riding?
She bikes every day, yeah.
Okay.
She said she's going to bike when she gets up.
So she was asleep in the bed when you left. Did you say bye to her or anything?
No, she's
okay.
Always leave her.
So the last time you probably actually saw her was this morning. That was it, right?
Yeah, I've been here before. I got a big job up there. I've been there all day. Is it a crash?
I mean, the bike looked, the way it was laying, it kind of looked like it, but there's not really that much damage to the bike. That's the thing.
Lion?
Yeah, it was just like lion.
No lion?
I didn't see anything that would indicate.
Yeah, apparently wasn't a mountain lion, according to the state here. Joseph Scott Morgan, would you weigh in, please, on these drugs used and your thoughts on how this may change the case?
Well, it certainly puts it in a new light, Julie. From what we know, remember that cap was recovered at the home in the dryer that is associated with this tranq gun. And isn't it fascinating that they were able to extract this compound from actually the head of her femur that they recovered at the scene. But again, juxtaposition to the trial of O'Keefe, we don't have a manner there. We have a manner here, homicide, but we don't have a cause. They're merely saying that those drugs were there. What's fascinating about this is the fact that in the grave, they have now stated that they found adjacent a weathered projectile. I want to know what the caliber of the projectile is. There's no soft tissue, I know that, so you can't appreciate hemorrhage. Were any of the bones fractured, and were those fractures related to gunfire? We haven't heard that as well. We don't have the anthropology report yet. We've only got a 4-page autopsy report. So let's see where this goes, but it's certainly compelling.
Yeah, it certainly is. We're going to talk more about that weathered bullet in just a moment. Thank you for that, Professor Joe. Last but not least, Attorney Bob Motta, good to see you on the show. Tell us your thoughts on this, please, and what it may mean for new charges against Mr. Morphew.
Well, there's clearly at least the metaphorical smoking gun at this point, so they've at least been able to kind of substantiate their theory with respect to the tranquilizer. Now that they found the substances in her actual DNA or their bloodstream during the testing. So I think they need more. I really do. I think, remember, one of the reasons that this case went away the first time is the state wasn't turning over evidence, which included DNA from an individual who was known to have been committing sexual assaults in the area in the vehicle. So, I mean, you have to look, when you're the state, you know, they're in the business of not losing. So I think that they're going to need more than just this connection here. I think they're going to need to show like kind of a motive, you know, like even though we don't need to prove it, you know, we want to know why would he have done this? You know, was there something else going on? So I'm assuming the state is feverishly working to build its case. They now at least feel like they have a solid foundation, and from here we'll see what else they can get in terms of moving forward on a case against him.
Right. Bob, thank you for all of that. Yeah, and I like what you're saying there about motive. And I wonder if perhaps it's going to go back to their relationship at the time and turmoil there. And let's also talk about the weathered bullet a little more. Professor Joe, I'm glad that you brought this up. Way back when, you know, Barry Morphew accused investigators of not testing that bullet for DNA evidence. And he was saying, you know, that could have been key to solving this case. Your thoughts on that? Could it be key to the case?
Well, I suppose it could, particularly if they find any weapons in his home or in his possession that might marry up with rifling that is left behind on the surface, as striations left behind on that projectile. And not just him, but any other weapons that might be in the system. Remember, when these bullets are examined, they go into the ATF database, which is staggeringly robust. And so any weapon that could have been used in the commission of a homicide in the past is going to be in there if they've recovered a projectile. So that's going to be key. Again, they haven't said anything about trauma related to a gunshot wound, and be honest with you, Julie, you don't have much to work with at this point as far as a body goes.
Another great point. Yeah, her remains obviously have deteriorated considerably from the time that she went missing. Final point here, Bob Motta, I want to go back to you, please. In terms of how concerned Barry Morphew ought to be this morning with these autopsy results being released, what are your thoughts on that?
I'd be concerned. You know, I mean, we know that the state likes him for it. It does not help that they've been able to make this connection with what they believed was a theory that they were moving forward to the point where they're on the eve of trial. So if I'm Barry Morphew, I am not sleeping well at all. I'm extremely concerned. I'm on the phone with my lawyer and saying, you know, what are the odds that they're coming after me again? He's got to be feeling great discomfort, I would imagine.
Most certainly. Bob Motta, thank you so much. Joseph Scott Morgan, thanks to you. We have to say goodbye to you both. Appreciate all of your insight.